Hello and welcome to Key Radio News. We're doing this live again, and we weren't originally planning on doing another episode the week after we finished Canon Book Club. That kind of came out of left field, but now we have, because we have gotten a bit of important news. So once
our
again,
hand was forced.
it was completely out of our control, but I mean, I'm not complaining about it. But yeah, I'm Empy again. I'm gonna be your main host once more, and I will once again be joined by Scout.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're also having another special guest to do a few quick announcements. We have Hammiam.
I demand cookies!
He is horribly addicted to Cookie Clicker, and I can understand the struggle. I was there at one point.
Cookies!
I'm surrounded by addicts.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even deny that. Like, it's stayed like that for me as well.
But
Plastic
now
is delicious.
today we're talking about one of our other addictions, which is key.
Yes. Yeah, like I said previously, we weren't originally planning on doing Key Radio News so soon after Canon Book Club, but some pretty big announcements just dropped out of the nethers, so we kind of just we had to do this because there's a few things that you should probably note about and a few announcements that we wanted to make. So half of the announcements are key official announcements, but also another half of them are related to the server. So I would like to do the announcements relating to the server first, because those are things that we need to get out of the way so that everyone on the podcast and everyone who's listening right now are aware of it. So the first thing that we have to talk about is something that we talked about a bit last episode on the IU Book Club, but since not everyone listened to the IU Book Club, since it was a very spoilery, canon-centric episode, this is the more official announcement. The next book club has been confirmed, and I'll give you the floor to talk about this one. You can probably guess what it is if you don't know already.
Yes, hello. I am Hammiam, resident Angel Beach Shill. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yes. As you probably guess, if I'm here, we're doing Angel Beats book club. And Lucci, go fuck yourself. I don't want that. I don't want that gif. Get it out of here. I'm just gonna delete that. Anyways.
Oh, turnip.
You are a turnip.
Oh.
Not you. Lucci is. Anyways, so yeah, we're doing an Angel Beats book club. It is not gonna be a traditional book club though, as we're not just doing First Beat. We are doing both First Beat and the anime because I want to do the entire story. Well, within those two. So it's gonna be a weird mix of it. You can choose either one to keep up with. I'm gonna post the schedule. I'll explain it here in a second. Let me just. So yeah, Angel Beats Book Club. We're gonna have 6 podcasts. First one is gonna go over the first 2 episodes. Second one is gonna be basically the Iwasawa episode, and we're gonna do some of the middle episodes. Fourth one is gonna be Matsushita centric. Fifth one is Yui centric, and then 6th episode we're gonna be wrapping this sumbitch up. So that's gonna be fun. You can either come in, play First Beat, follow along, or you can watch the anime. I will be hosting group watches as well on the Wednesday prior to it for the respective episodes for those who don't want to read the visual novel. Other thing is we will not be covering any of the manga in depth. So Heaven's Door, Last Operation, Traveling Tenchi, don't bother with them.
Unless you want to, but you won't be.
You won't need to. The only one that you may want to read up on is maybe the Iwasawa episode, because it's going to be me and Domi. And
Ooh, Domi debut.
Yeah, Domi debut. If anyone knows about me and Domi, we go really deep into Iwasawa. Not that way, you perverts.
You guys are you guys are the literal Iwasawa icons of this entire server. Nay, dare I say the entire Key community.
I literally,
yeah.
I literally couldn't distinguish between you two at first.
Yeah, so you may want to read that. I'm gonna tell Domi to chill it with with those references, but we may end up talking about that. But other than that, that's all I really have to say on that. So let's move to a different topic.
Well, yeah, the main thing I want to clarify is, as very evident, Ham will be basically having the entire Angel Beats book club. So this is gonna be the first book club that's not at all managed by me or Lucy or any of our previous hosts. This is entirely Ham's debut, and he's gonna be managing it all. So good luck to Ham.
Kill me.
Now you're gonna understand the pain that we felt during a canon book club. But to be fair, it should be doable. It should be doable. Like
it shouldn't bother me considering yes, as as someone who already streams for another activity I'm involved in, I do racing streams, and I've been the founder of that for 5 years now. I've gotten decently well versed in streaming, so that shouldn't be an issue for me.
That's fair enough. So yeah, for those who like Angel Beats, which there are fans of, like they definitely exist.
They're everywhere.
They are
honestly.
Angel Beats is pretty popular. Like it might not be as popular as it was like 10 years ago, but it's still pretty big.
I mean,
but
this year will be 15 years since it came out, so.
God, worse. Oh, I feel old now. Oh God.
You are welcome.
I feel old. But yeah, Angel Beats has a lot of fans, so if you like Angel Beats, you're looking to revisit the anime or the visual novel or both, if you're really daring, now's a great time to. Keyverse is going to be hosting a book club, we're going to have discussions, it's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you, Ham, for doing this, because I definitely would not be nearly as familiar as Angel Beats as you would be. So,
yeah. Angel Beats may have been my introduction, but it's not a story I'm like. It's not a story I know as well as I knew canon, so
yeah,
definitely the best one to handle it.
There's I told this to a few personal friends of mine, but when First Beat got translated, I knew the story. I don't know it. I'm kind of rusty now, but I knew the story so well. I almost didn't have to read it, other than the extra bits they put in, because I knew the music cues. I knew what lines they were gonna say. Like the first year after I watched it, I could literally quote the entire show word for word.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, that's a level we can only dream of getting to.
Yeah,
I know literally one person that can do something like that for like one single like scene of like Gundam 00. They could just narrate everything by the second, but even that's just like one scene. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I guess if it wasn't obvious enough, you're in good hands for the Angel Beats book club. This is gonna be really it's gonna be done by someone who really loves Angel Beats. Like there are 2 people I know on this planet who love Angel Beats to death, and they are Ham and Domi, so you'll be fine. If you like Angel Beats, you're in really good hands. You're not gonna get a better host.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very proud of you and happy for you. So yeah, thank you to Ham for making the second Angel Beat, the second book club for this year being Angel Beats. But in case you're wondering about a certain other visual novel that we may or may not be talking about soon, don't worry. We will have some discussions about this and some future reveals, so sit tight.
Yeah.
But on other things, before we get into some official content, I do need to talk more about some recent things regarding Keyverse. This is going to be a relatively smaller announcement, but if you've been keeping up with Key, you'll know that one of the bigger things that's happening this year, if not arguably the biggest, is, aside from obviously the thing that we'll be talking about later, and that's probably the title of this video, Summer Pockets anime, it will be airing, and we've gotten a few questions and a few suggestions we've discussed it a bit about what we will be doing for the anime. Now, one thing I will say is, in case you are interested in a group watch, I am not sure if we'll be able to do that, because here's the main thing. Summer Pockets anime is gonna be 26 episodes. This is a very, or at least that we've seen so far, it's gonna be a long one. So, while we could probably, like, potentially watch it, if we're gonna do, like, weekly discussions on it, it might get more difficult. And there's also been a few questions of how do we discuss this with anime? Like, we can't just put this in key visual novel discussion, because it won't really be one. So we do. We're gonna have to bring back something that we haven't brought back in ages. So for those who knew back in the day, we used to do key radio group watches, and this is basically just our way of group watching things and discussing the new content, or group watching shows together. We essentially watch things together. We won't quite do the same thing here. We won't do a live group watch. However, we will be bringing back the group watch channel, and we'll be doing it as our basically newcomer friendly Summer Pockets weekly discussion chat. So the way it'll work is every week once the Summer Pockets anime starts airing, I'll probably open that group watch channel back up. We'll bring it back, and once that's done, we can essentially use that channel to discuss about Summer Pocket spoilers up to the latest episode. So new fans, old fans, everyone can discuss Summer Pockets and not worry about future spoilers. So my only request for that one is, if it isn't obvious, if you've read Summer Pockets, don't spoil things. Keep the spoilers to what's been revealed on the latest episode only. We'll not do, like I said, live group watches, but we will do like group watch discussion in case you want to talk about Summer Pockets, because Summer Pockets is definitely the most popular visual novel when it comes to the fans in this server. Like, every time a Summer Pockets read-through happens, people go wild. People discuss it all the time.
They emerge from the shadows to all respectfully watch.
Genuinely, like, there has not been any other visual novel that's gotten, like, super dedicated people constantly looking out for new blood. As Summer Pockets, like, even, like, I'd argue the other key fan favorite visual novel is Little Busters. Not everyone follows a Little Busters group read as much because, well, they don't really happen. A lot of people have read it. But when a new Summer Pockets read happens, everyone's on that. So, yeah, if you want to read the visual novel in advance, that's fine. You can absolutely do that, and you can still join the discussion. This anime channel will basically just be done entirely to discuss the anime, and Keyverse will be releasing discussions regarding the Summer Pockets anime once details start coming out. I don't know what we're gonna do on the podcasts yet. I still have to figure that out. But you can at least, if nothing else, expect a podcast before the Summer Pockets anime starts airing, as well as after the Summer Pocket starts airing. So we will do a discussion for before and after that, I can guarantee. So that's what I have planned. And for Summer Pockets fans, or new fans, or even key fans who have been here for a while and haven't touched Summer Pockets yet for one reason or another, that will be the way we handle things. We'll be bringing the group watch channel out of retirement, and you won't have to worry about spoilers, so look forward to that. So that's the other big thing that Keyverse is planning. So Summer Pockets group watch will be happening once the anime starts airing, which will be in April. Yeah. So that's everything regarding Keyverse directly. So now we get to the actual key announcements. So there are going to be two announcements that are relatively major. So let's get through the first one first. As usual, the new key news. The first thing we need to talk about is Heaven Burns Red. Now, the reason for this is because we are reaching the anniversary of sorts. Yes, we've been reached the 100 days celebration, so a lot of things have been happening regarding the game. So I'm here with Ham to discuss it a bit, as well as the few rewards we're getting, and some important things you probably want to know about the story chapters, including the event that's currently happening. So if you haven't played the event now, you want to listen to this, because this is actually important. This is notably more important than you think it is. Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second. I thought you were gonna say, oh, it's on. Okay. Anyways, yes, Heaven's Burned Red. That's a thing.
That is indeed a thing.
Yes, it is. It is the game. Congrats to everyone who lost the game. Anyways, Heaven's Burned Red. So the most recent event that came out with the lead up to the 100 days celebration is the I don't know the official name off the top of my head. I am referring to it as the Yuina Senpai Summer Event.
Yeah,
Give me a
it's the event that's currently going on. There's Yuina on it, and she's in a swimsuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me a second because I do not remember the official name. Anyways, so I would not recommend reading it right
No.
now unless
Yes.
you already have a decent understanding of what's going to happen in the main story, as it does have some spoilers for the upcoming main story 4.2. Thank you, Nari. The event's name is Thou Art This Summer's Fairy, a sight I shall record in my eyes. That is a really stupid name. I'm just gonna continue it. I'm just gonna continue to call it the Yuina Summer Event, because that is much
Summer
simpler.
event in winter.
Because it came out in summer. Why not?
Damn you, EN server, for rushing!
I mean, the game came. We're at the 3-year anniversary for the official game.
Yeah,
for
we
the
are
Japanese-
at the anniversary for the official game, so that's not surprising. It's just if you've been wondering, the EN server is very much going through the content very fast, and if in case you'd like to slow down, unfortunately, I'm here to report that that's not happening. If anything, we are speeding up. Hell,
Yes. It is so much fun.
it's really fun. I can't keep up with everything.
I've actually kept up with it pretty well. So
You're amazing.
I liked the story content we got before we got chapter 4, and I was like, all right, gonna catch up on all this, and now I'm caught up. So I'm sitting here like, I'm bored.
Yeah. Lucy did say that we might be speeding up. Eventually, the game will climax. The thing is, we are speeding up to, at this rate, we're gonna speed up until 3 years worth of content until we're caught up with the JP server. So we're going light speed right now.
They did say they're gonna calm the hell down here soon.
I hope so.
Because they're only gonna release one event a month, I think, at this point.
Please. These events are going way too fast.
Yes.
As evidence of them going way too fast, as Ham said, the current event has spoilers for a story chapter that isn't even out yet. So, in case you care about Heaven Burns Red spoilers, which probably, assuming you play the game, you definitely do, don't read this event, because it will spoil future story chapters, and I'm gonna be real, I don't know why they did this. Like, if...
No one does. Yeah, that's the other thing. This story unlocks after you complete chapter 1, which is
stupid.
Really dumb.
It's
really dumb.
It's really deceiving for new fans. Old fans will probably already know about it, and I've seen people warning about it on Twitter. Good on them for doing so, because I'm not sure. Thankfully I haven't been fallen down into that rabbit hole yet, because like I said, I'm still barely catching up. But from what I am aware of, 2 of our key keepers, Ham and Nari, who are fully caught up to, did not know this, and they learned the hard way.
There's one line in there that, as soon as I read it, I was like, wait a second. where are we in this story? Yeah, I'm not gonna say what it is because that does spoil some stuff.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate
yeah,
that.
I would recommend if you want to keep a semblance of not spoiling yourself, I would not recommend going further than maybe like the first minute or two to see
That's
funny
shame.
stuff. Yes, which is a shame because it's a really funny story and very heartbreaking at the end, actually. In true
And it
Mueda fashion.
is. I bet that heartbreaking element probably relates to the spoiler.
Actually, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay. That's good.
That the spoiler is the spoiler really has nothing to do with any of the in-content thing. The spoilers more have to do to stuff that's already released, but just where it is. And like I said, there's only one line that signifies where this is, but once you do, it's like, okay, well, that's immersion breaking a little bit, and you have to know what that line is, otherwise you'll never know.
Yeah, that's really cool. So thank you, Yostar, for rushing the story out. That for once that is sarcasm. Please slow down.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for like I'm so grateful that we finally do have Hammiam's Red, but I do have some thoughts about some of the management, and there have been issues with the release that I think are worth voicing criticism for, but spoiling your own story is a step too far. I feel like at this point, you should probably double check on the content. Please work on listening to your fans, and like the main thing is, don't ruin the experience for your own fans, because I've seen more than one case where people have gone into the new event not expecting it to put down the actual experience, because spoilers aren't fun. And it's even more annoying when the thing you're reading spoils the own story. So, yeah. I'm very grateful to the staff, but please keep an eye out, and I do request slow down. Slow down the event output, because some of these events are not written to go with the actual story in the main chapters, and if we don't have the main chapters, we ruin the main chapters and the event with spoilers, so no one wins. Please, at least if you're gonna rush things, release it in order. That's the main request, because rushing content bad. Anyways, that's your big warning for like the Heaven Burns Red content. It's really urgent. I felt like a lot of people needed to know about this, because it's bad. This is something that few people have been reporting, and we need to spread awareness. So that's it. On brighter news, like I said, the 100 days celebration and plan schedule has released. We're starting a new campaign, and you should already be seeing the results of this if you're like me and Ham and play this game daily. Like, we have a problem.
I am so pissed right now because I have no good gacha luck.
I am saving, and I will tell you why I'm saving, because
no, well, I would log in daily because you get a free 10 pool every day. So log in daily, do your pools.
Yes.
And if you log in 10 days during this, you get a free 10 pool that guarantees one SS card.
Yes. So
yeah, one SS card. Let me join that quicker.
Yeah. So those are part of the rewards that we are having to celebrate the 100 days. Like, the biggest main thing that a lot of people have been really excited over with the 100 days is we are getting free 10 rolls every day, so please log in every day in order to get free rewards. Like, even if you have bad gacha luck, as Ham has had, as I have had, free rolls are free rolls.
Life.
Free rolls are free rolls. So you won't have to gamble for these. Just log in, that's all you need to do, and take advantage of it. And like Ham said, we are getting tickets, so once 10 days has passed and you've logged in every day, you'll be getting a free ticket that'll allow you to get a free roll with a free SS. And While these might not always be the best when it comes to getting a new unit, I've had multiple SSs in the past that have just given me duplicates. It's still beneficial. So keep an eye out, and you definitely won't regret it because free stuff is free stuff. We're
Oh,
also getting
we're also getting 5 life gems every day, or
yes.
life stones every day,
Yeah,
which is
we're getting
nice.
a lot of free material, such as the Life Stone, so in case you want to socialize more, or you want to go back and clear some events with higher rewards, now's the time, because we're getting free Life Gems. It is basically the best time to get into the game and just plow through the content. I know that I am behind on socializations by quite a bit, so I
Hey,
will be reading once I have
Empy,
spare
Empy.
second. Hi.
You want to feel even further behind?
Oh god.
Yeah,
What?
I have all the socializations done.
He does have all the socializations done,
I
so...
have all the socializations done, and I had that done like a month ago. I finished that before the end of 24.
Oh boy. That is joy. So yeah, in case you're like me and don't and have a life, I guess. Uh, now you can catch up. Hopefully I will be able to catch up, and yeah, this is a good time to get back into the game, do some daily logins, do some rolling, and we've gotten a bit of a roadmap for future content. So the current event might have spoilers for chapter 4.2 as far as I'm aware, but we haven't gotten 4.2 yet, but we should be getting it soon. The Heaven Burns Red Staff have said that we are having it during the 100 days collab, so I would assume that 4.2 is going to be releasing relatively soon. I'm not sure how soon, but it should be on its way. So in case you don't want to be spoiled by the Yuina swimsuit event, just wait a bit longer. We'll eventually get it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll also be getting some other events, such as the Crime, Punishment, and Love event during March and the Peace of Cradle event during April. So thank God for slowing down. I am glad that we won't be rushing through events like we have been for the past 3 months or something, because uh remind me how many events have been released? Like 8?
Uh, uh, so let's see here. What did we start out with? So we
I feel
started
I feel like
out.
I've read like 10 or something like that.
Okay, so the first one that was released after that didn't release with the main launch was the Swordsman Festival one.
Mm-hmm.
So since then we've got Swordsman, we got 31A's New Year, Survival Story, Oshima Family Tales, the Turning Aspirations into Words, Noble Yet Fleeting, in this current one, as well as 4.1 and the Interlude Story. So one,
So
two,
give or
three,
take 5 to
four,
6
five,
events.
6, 7.
We've been getting 2 events a month.
Yeah, we've gotten 6 events, 8 if you include the main story ones since launch.
I would count the main story as one, so god.
Yeah,
So 3
yeah.
months.
Yeah, on launch we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah, and
7,
that's
8,
not including
9,
the
10,
launch
11,
content.
12, 13, 14. Yeah, 14 different things for launch content, and that's including main story. So we have right now 22 events, main story segments. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I said
boy.
launch. Shut up, Lucci.
Launch content. But yeah, we have a lot of backlog, so hopefully we'll be slowing down soon. So the upcoming schedule does inspire a bit of faith, because monthly schedule is going to be way nicer. Oh my god, please. Yeah. So that's great. They've also clarified that we're getting some benefits. So like we said, we've been getting some more rolls. We're apparently also getting more quartz, life stones, and upgrade materials, so this is a good time to upgrade your characters. Regarding gameplay, I'm pretty sure they've clarified that they're going to be increasing the difficulty, so that's going to be fun. So level up your units. Get prepare for the oncoming storm. We've gotten we're gonna be getting Anachrony Availability Expansion. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure
So
the JP
that
players will let us know.
that's already been released. So Anachrony
Oh,
2
joy.
expansion is going to be basically, instead of over the weekend, it's going to be out through the entire week, which is currently already available.
Oh boy.
So if you miss it during the weekend, don't worry, you have until the following Friday, and they're getting harder.
Oh boy. Oh joy. Yeah, I haven't caught up with the side event content. I've been mostly focused on the story for this, so that's gonna be fun. I might be skipping on that, but we'll see. So just keep an eye out for that in case you play Evan Burns Red for the gameplay, because definitely a lot of people have.
Oh god, I'm
Yeah.
I'm here for the story.
I am I am also here for the story, so I probably won't be going too hard. But anyways, the big announcement. So this is one of the most anticipated moments for Heaven Burns Red, and this concerns Ham directly. Ever since the launch, they've expressed that they are very aware that a lot of people are playing this game for the Angel Beats collaboration. We've gotten it in JP for its first anniversary, and ever since, it has been a huge, huge popular point for Heaven Burns Red. I don't, I wouldn't be surprised if there are people who are playing this game only know about Heaven Burns Red because of its association to Angel Beats and Jin Maeda.
Me.
How I am. So yeah. Regarding that, we will be seeing this event coming sooner than it did for the JP server. What a surprise! But
Yes.
thankfully, it won't be soon. This will be during mid 2025. So
Oh yeah, that's. Sorry, not to interrupt. That's the other thing. Going back to the Angel Beats book club, we're not covering this either. So, yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about this, but I do recommend reading it because the story is good. This is one of the only Angel Beats, or the only Heaven Burns Red content I knew before the English version dropped. The story is
still
really
haven't
good for
read it.
this. So keep an eye out, and it will be releasing on mid 2025, so save your quartz. As I've alluded to earlier, I have already started, because I do not want to miss any of these units, because they will be time limited. These are not unlike a lot of the Evan Burns Red cast, the Angel Beats cast is not available on normal banners. So if you want them, you can only get them now. These are highly limited, so save up. But yeah, that's mainly it for Heaven Burns Red. Wait, no, there's one more thing, and that's the main story chapters. We will be getting main story chapters down the line. Like I said, 4.2 will be releasing relatively soon, and I'm pretty sure 5.1 will be releasing the C1 of the year, Q1. I forgot when exactly.
So they're projecting. Well, so there's 4.2. Then there's an interlude in between 4.2 and 5.1. They're going to release that, which is main story, and then they're going to release 5.1. Both of those are projected to be sometime this summer.
Okay.
They haven't gave any concrete details, but as of right now, they're saying 4.2 soon-ish. In March, Crime, Punishment, and Love, and then in April is going to be Peace Cradle, and then after that, who knows?
Okay, so we can expect 5.1 relatively soon, but not too soon, so that's good. Yeah, that's wonderful with Heaven Burns Red. The story has been living up to a lot of expectations. I do think I'm having a lot of fun. It's just, like I said previously, management, please slow down. Please slow down. That's my only request. The translation issues are they are an issue, but not as much as spoiling your own story. So, yeah, that's my main thing from this. Anyways, regarding that, with the Heaven Burns Red content, we now have to discuss about the few visual novels. Scout can also come back now because now he has things to talk about. There are two things.
Thank you too for handling that.
Yes. So with that, I'm gonna tag out. Scout, you can have fun. Everyone, it's been a pleasure. Bye.
Yeah, thank you,
Alright,
Ham.
see ya, Ham. Thank you for coming. But yeah, with all of that, Heavens Burns Red discussions on, and we have a few things to talk about when it comes to the Key visual novels, both of which include the earliest works of Key. For the first thing is a relatively more minor announcement. For those who know, we recently had a canon book club, and of course, right after that, they announced that we're getting canon on console. Now, yeah, this there's we have to just mention the elephant in the room right off the bat.
Yeah.
This release on announcement has immediately garnered controversy, and it's because for the first time, I think ever, I'm not sure if this has ever happened before, but we are actually just getting censored content. Like, scenes are getting cut.
Yeah, it's not the kind of censorship you might think. It's like it's kind of aggressive is all I'll say on it. It's questionable why it's happening in the first place, and it does kind of impact a lot of the more powerful parts of the story. So yeah, people aren't very happy about it, and I think pretty justifiably.
Yeah, so essentially what's happened here is a lot of key visual novels, like once in a while, like we've had Rewrite Plus where there were a few censored CGs, there are a few key visual novels where they had to cut around like certain provocative CGs, like that happens, you gotta keep things all ages. But with canon, they went a bit too, they took a step further, and they are just straight up cutting out scenes including some bath scenes, some kiss scenes, intimate moments, as they call it. And very understandably, people are not happy about that. Okay, so Iron has clarified in chat, not just some, every kiss scene is cut out. Yeah, and I will say, this is not something I would say is good either, because this is a galgay. And if we all know, the entire point of a galgay is to get the gal. So
I don't think 12-year-old French girls would have had much of a problem with how canon is on Steam, so
yeah, so that is the main elephant in the room, is that for once, Steam is not being the strict ones here. Steam actually has already released on canon. Like we've said, we've used the Steam version as the main way to discuss canon during the Canon Book Club. None of these scenes were cut. So, I don't know why the console scenes had to remove it. We've had a few theories that it might have to do with Nintendo, or maybe Sony. We don't know. But the point of the matter is, Prototype is releasing English canon on console. You'll be reading in Chinese and English, all that stuff, but it will be censored. So, and this won't be a minor one. So, if you do want to read canon on console, I won't stop you. However, I will say, I do heavily advocate for just getting the Steam version at this point. Because we are not talking about minor scenes. When we are talking about cutting entire scenes, these are some of the most impactful scenes in the visual novel. And obviously, if you haven't read canon already, or if you haven't already read canon, the moment you tag
this
me,
new English release is not the ideal way to read canon, especially on your first time. But it's not the only option, even on Switch. You can get it from the Japanese eShop or just get it physical, and those both have English as an option now. They were updated for that. So just please avoid the English eShop version of it for your best experience.
Yeah. Essentially, the gameplay with canon now is to get to the Japanese version and just use the English language for Japanese. Like, that is the way to handle this. Because, as we've mentioned, you probably have all not read canon, or if you've listened to our book club, you probably already have seen canon regarding it, because we've discussed in the book club heavy major spoilers, assuming you've seen canon. But just letting you know, if you've listened to Book Club, you know how important some of these cutscenes are. These are not optional. These are things you do need to see if you want the proper experience with canon. These are story relevant, and the story is worse off without them. So please do yourself a favor. Don't cheap out and get the English version. Go full way. It is highly recommended from Keyverse and its fans to find a version with the complete content. Yeah. And as Iron wants to clarify, and I also think this is important to clarify, don't point fingers. There have been a few people already pointing fingers. I mean, it is fair to criticize the results of what happened. This is not great, and we definitely don't want to see stuff like this in the future when it comes to key releases. I certainly hope it doesn't happen, but being toxic about it online is not going to make any changes. Just voice your criticisms, leave it be, and support the versions that are complete, because if the new versions don't sell, maybe they'll get the memo.
Yeah. And yeah, just so everyone knows, it's the same price whether you get it on Switch or Steam. So if Steam is an option, please, that's probably your best choice.
Steam Deck time! Bless Steam. Yeah, and speaking of Steam, now we get to the big main meat of this news episode. So,
the elephant saying Gao can finally be acknowledged.
Misuzugon is here.
Yeah, just literally a day before we were finally gonna end Canon Book Club, we got a very funny announcement.
I'm scared.
I mean, I'm sure you woke up to a lot of DMs. Like, I'm not as well connected as you or Lucci, but I woke up from with a DM from you, and
I got 5.
I woke up with a DM from you just saying "dude" in all caps, and I saw a ping in the server, and I knew something happened. And yeah, that's something is Air on Steam. We finally have an official English release.
After God knows how long. I mean, this basically means all of the full-length key visual novels that aren't like a spin-off event of some sort. Pretty much all of them are on the game on Steam now. They're all translated, and aside from like the small kinetics like Prima Doll and Could Wafter, I'm pretty sure that's all of them. We got the set.
This is a monumental just moment in Key right now.
Like. And the funniest thing, of course, Air gets announced during the dead of winter. God's sake.
And releases like either early spring or near spring, because
yeah, that is something I will have to eat a bit of snow on, because back when we were doing Canon Book Club, because Canon, I'm pretty sure, released it in the summer. So I was kidding. God, wouldn't it be funny if Key released Air translation next year and they released it in the dead of winter? Thankfully, no, we're getting it way earlier than that.
Yeah, but that's a key moment, all right.
That do be a key moment, and I mean, I'm not complaining. Like,
I mean, neither am I.
Yeah, this was a very pleasant surprise. Like, because I was expecting this, like I said, to take an entire year. I wasn't expecting it to happen basically half a year after Canon's release, and like, they announced it, and like Scout said, we're not gonna have to wait long. I'm pretty sure this releases during spring, whether it be March or
5th.
March 5th. God, it releases in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, in case you in case you were wondering why it's Angel Beats Book Club next and not Air Book Club,
we didn't plan
we literally
for this.
aren't ready. we literally are not ready. I mean, we were like. I was always like keeping, what we did planned out so that we'd have like a free spot for Air Book Club, because we all expected it this year.
Yeah. That's the thing. We all expected Air to happen in some form. We just didn't expect it to happen this soon.
I was just
and more importantly is without warning, because they literally announced this like last week. Like, they're releasing it in less than a month. They announced it last week. Bro. Stop.
Yeah, we got like half a month's warning.
So scary.
So
we're
as you might be able to figure, Air Book Club is going to happen.
It will be, but it won't be right away because we already made plans, and I don't want to fight Ham on his hard-planned efforts to immediately derail it for another book club now. I'm gonna let Ham do his thing, and I, for one, also need a break after Canon Book Club. So
Yeah, me too. This week I was dead this week.
yeah, dude, that's the funniest thing as well, is that, for me at least, they literally announced it the day I finished my reread of Canon, and it was during Canon Book Club, so we were just like, oh god, I thought we were done.
Yeah, I had to finish Canon just in shock, having to think about that.
I mean, yeah, but at least we have something to look forward to, and more importantly, this is something I think is worth mentioning right off the bat, is when it comes to Air, they're not just releasing it, there is actually a follow and repost campaign on Twitter / X, the Everything app. Yeah, it's awesome name, right? We'll not get into that. But on Twitter, they are doing a follow and repost campaign. So they will be giving away 10 Steam keys for Air for free. So if you want to get Air for free, go on Twitter and follow the official Visual Arts USA Twitter account. I will probably make a link in the video after this, and I'll post this right now in the podcast text so that everyone can take a look and do their due diligence, because one, this is the first time in God knows how long that Visual Arts USA is actually advertising their damn visual novel, and two, they're actually doing it pretty well. Like,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
if there's one that needs it, it's definitely this, I'd say.
It's definitely this, and also, like, I'm surprised he didn't do this earlier. I'm pretty sure, like, half of the people who liked Key didn't even realize that Visual Arts had an official USA account announcing stuff. They announced Lunaria, and that went into the complete nethers. No one even knew it came out. Same with Stella. They just kept shadow dropping things. Like, I'm pretty sure back in the day, Summer Pockets, like the original English version, also shadow dropped. So, yeah, they kind of just don't advertising, so good on them! They are starting! So yeah.
And, if in case you've read Air before and you think this is just like another version of what you read before.
Nori pointed out something I'm very dumb, so we might have to edit this, but, yeah, apparently the deadline already passed, so...
Oh my
damn.
god.
Damn.
Oh yeah, February 1st.
Damn, they really didn't make this one long. Bro, you gotta
it was
keep these
a
up
week
a bit
long.
longer.
Yeah, it was for a week. Oh jeez, yeah.
That is
Lucci,
way too short.
cut all this out, Lucci. Pretend this didn't happen. We just flapped our gums.
I still
for
think
no
it's
reason.
worth mentioning that at least Visual Arts have learned how to advertise, because this is legitimately the first good time that they have advertised their damn visual novel properly. Because like before this, it has literally just been shadow drop after shadow drop, no hype, and basically the only ones who knew that was coming out were Key fans. So you either already knew about it or you didn't know about it at all. Like, half of the time I was like, I've heard so many fans were like, hey, wait, what? There's a new Key visual novel coming on? Yes, I'm sorry, Visual Arts doesn't advertise these things, but they are still making translations. They're doing them. So good on them for finally doing it. I'm pretty sure the Visual Arts Twitter account doubled, got like 2,000 followers in like a day once they did this, because people finally realized it and because they advertised it for once. I just made a comment where they're saying Anemoy is going to release a week before release. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
At this point, I'd give them 3 days before saying anything about it.
Oh god, Visual Arts, please. Time is money. But yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
either way.
As I was going to say, this release is a big deal, and not just for the obvious reasons. If you've read Air before, you might think this is like canon, where it's more or less the same version as the version that had an English patch before now. That's not the case.
No.
This version we're getting in English now is something very different.
Yeah. So this is a very big release, like in a lot of ways, and for like main thing is we have HD sprites, so woohoo, we get Air. I'm pretty sure the Air sprites aren't as bad as Canon's, because one big criticism with Canon's recent HD release is that a lot of the upscaling was kind of ass. It wasn't very good. As far as I'm aware, Air's upscale has not had any of these issues, so it'll be looking good.
They do
Night sprites
say
will be gone again, but monkey's paw, I guess.
They do say they've at least like retouched the coloring of the CGs and such, so it's not the exact same, but Air looked like better than Canon to begin with. Its art aged even better, so it doesn't seem like, at least from what we can see right now, it seems closer to what it was to begin with.
Yeah, and as Scout was alluding to earlier, this version of Air isn't just get like an HD remaster. This is a big release because we are actually getting brand new content. Like, this is script that is not in the original version. It's not in any of the fan translations. In fact, this is the first time we are getting the new side story, first Sky chapter, for the very first time, period. This is something that has been exclusive to the Japanese console release since like a few years ago that came out.
To my memory, it might have first been in the Vita version. Yeah, Lucci just confirmed. It started on the Vita version, and so it was on the Switch version, which this Steam release is probably based on. So we are indeed getting a whole other part of Air's story, which isn't technically new. I think Lucci told me it was in Air's novelization, but it was still so not like something they wrote just a decade later for Air, but it's still a part of the story we did not get to experience before now.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, I haven't read this admittedly yet because I'm waiting for the new release, but as far as I'm aware, this is not a small, like, side story. This is like an hour or two long, so this is content. This is new content. We can't talk too much about what it is because it does involve spoilers regarding Air. Key has not hid this fact at all, so in case you're going into Air blind, you might not want to look at some of the CGs, but it will involve...
Don't look at the store page very closely. Don't look at like the description. There's spoilers they don't care about keeping anymore. And
yeah, I mean,
Air is a story about surprise. Air is still a story about surprises, and you want to try to keep that.
Yeah, in case this is your very first time experiencing Air, you've not known anything. These are things you don't want to know, and while it has been 25 years, Visual Arts has stopped caring. So, yeah. Aside from that, it is a new story focusing with characters related to the summer route. I won't elaborate. If you know about Air, you know. This is entirely focused on them, and it basically is the origin story for certain characters of the summer route, their meeting, and it has new content and even the new CG from Hino Eiichiro herself. She came back to illustrate one CG that looks horribly out of place because it's been like, what? Like 15 years?
This was one of the last things she ever did for Key. This was... The Vita version was in 2016, which is when Harmonia came out. So
yeah. So
one of her last contributions to Key.
Yeah, so the CG difference could not be more great. However, we still appreciate it, and more Air is always welcome. So yeah, we're getting a new version of Air. It's gonna be English, and this is the best time to read Air, because Air's a very important story to Key.
It's part of the Seasons trilogy. To my knowledge, even with that in mind, it's huge in Japan.
Oh yeah.
It's defining like by itself.
Tori
And yet
no
this-
Uta is the song that put Leah on the map and made Leah a key staple.
Yeah, literally like one of the most legendary OPs to like anything.
Yeah, the air OP Tori no Uta, you've definitely heard of it if you are a Key fan. This thing is massive.
They released sorry, I need a minute, but they released Air soundtrack on like YouTube and Spotify and services like that recently to culminate with this release.
Mhm.
And, you know, on YouTube at least, it's only gotten a few like every song's just only gotten like a few hundred views or so based on their popularity. Tori no Uta already has 41,000 views.
Need more. Need like
Like
1,000 and a million.
That's how like enduring its popularity is.
Oh yeah, I mean, about time, I'd say. Like,
But yeah,
Lucy says Tori no Uta was the karaoke song for eroge for the longest time, and yeah, I agree. That's a wonderful thing.
so,
but
yeah,
yeah.
Air has a huge legacy, and yet despite that, it is by far the least popular of the season's trilogy outside of Japan. In fact, it's
Yeah.
one of the least popular of Key's big works outside of Japan in general.
Yeah, the English community has definitely gotten a more mixed reception of it regarding it, and I do have kind of a theory as to why. I definitely know that you share that theory with me. It's probably because of the anime.
These anime is so important to why it has such a big appeal.
Most people I know Key more from their anime than their visual novels, because it's what is the closest thing that's made to them mainstream. Like, the Clannad and Canon anime, and especially the Angel Beats anime, more people know about these names and these titles than the actual brand Key itself.
Yeah, like
These anime are so important to them.
they're up there with like Steins Gate and maybe the Fate adaptations, and just how popular and enduring like they've made like these works in terms of the anime world. Key probably would not be what it is today if they didn't have these adaptations, just because of how many people they drew in by themselves. And unfortunately, Air is not one of the ones that benefited from that.
Air was if you know your Key anime, and if you've watched the Air anime itself back in the day, as I did, you'd notice that there's a big elephant in the room that is this is only 12 episodes long.
And a few OVAs, I think, but other than that, it's not
just one,
nearly.
and it's not great. Like, it is a nice help, like it is nice content. We have one OVA that depicts Air in summer that goes into the summer route, which we've talked about earlier. This is probably the most spoilery route in Air aside from the actual true route. Well, Air has two true routes technically. It's just Summer's kind of a different breed, as you say, compared to Clannad After Story, Little Buster's Refrain.
Air is just its own thing.
Summer
really.
is a one-of-a-kind story. I cannot talk about it much without actually getting into it, but this is a very special route that they've never really done since Air. Like, this is one of a kind. So this route being as important as it is, I'm just gonna say it, the anime did not do it justice at all. It did not do it well at all.
May not be as long as, say, Clannad, but it's still not nearly short enough to squeeze into 12 episodes and a few OVAs, and that's on top of the difficulties of needing to fit everything into a linear story.
Yes.
Like, the dream routes just do not work like that. It can really give people the wrong ideas on why they're there in the first place.
Yeah, like, one thing I do need to mention is, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Air is, like, around, if not a bit longer than canon. So, the Toei anime, like I've defended the Toei anime in the past. That does have problems. Like I've defended the Toei anime, but that anime has problems, and they are pacing issues. Like the only reason I defend the Toei anime is because we have a fixed version of it called 2006, which is 26 episodes, which is about the length you would want a key anime to be with the amount of content that canon has. That's fine. You can put it in there. KyoAni's Air adapts a visual novel around the same length, but not with nearly enough time.
And unfortunately, there is no better alternative. There is a movie by Toei, but it's definitely not a replacement any more than the anime is.
The Toei anime is very much its own beast. Like, it is, it has gotten a bit of infamy in the fandom, but one thing I will say is the Air one, at least they try to do their own thing. It's not like trying to be Air the visual novel as an adaptation. It's more like a reimagining to make its own story. That being said, as Scout has said, it is not a replacement for the actual visual novel. It is very different. I'm pretty sure the side heroines don't even like have any meaningful scenes. They appear as cameos, so that's awesome.
Which I guess, is kind of understandable if you want to take it in a linear fashion, but still that's an indication of how well that does not work.
Yeah. So yeah, unlike Canon, who has since gotten the 2006, which I would argue is a pretty close to perfect adaptation as you're ever gonna get for any visual novel anime, Airs has what I would probably argue to be one of the weakest key anime adaptations. Some would argue Rewrite is worse. Maybe. It depends on your perspective. Airs is pretty bad.
And it's just, that alone is a huge reason why it does not have much of a grip on people. I don't think anyone would see that anime and think, I want to see more of what these people make. That anime has exactly one, reputation among the casual anime committee, and it's a pretty bad one. Literally, if you try to see what Air is about among, people who don't know the visual novel, you're just gonna see one thing, and it's the biggest spoiler of the whole story.
Oh god, yes.
Literally, I'm not exaggerating. Just don't.
I was there for that era. Like, I'm gonna be completely transparent with everyone. I learned about Air through those anime YouTubers from back in the day in the 2000s. They spoil the biggest plot twist of Air so casually.
I literally was just in my era of trying to figure out what Key is, getting interested. I just casually decided to see what Air was even about. All I saw was that one spoiler. I had
awesome.
no idea what the rest of the story was even about. It was just talking about that. So, yeah.
That's
not
awesome.
a lot of incentive for people to seek out the source material in that case.
Yeah,
But-
it's really unfortunate.
The only people who really care about Air are Key fans.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you are a Key fan, seeking out the source material was a bit of a dilemma in its own way before now.
Yeah. Oh god, so we have to talk about the translations. Yeah, the translations have had a bit of a rocky release schedule. I don't know the full details, but I think there was essentially there were two groups for Air's translation, and both of them there was a bit of a weirdness in their release. I'm pretty sure they were both trying to do it at the same time, and they were kind of passive aggressive with each other. I don't know the full details. I probably should be talking about all this stuff.
She explained it once, and I still didn't really understand it, but there was some drama around this release, which, first off, that's all the discussion you're going to find about them online. If you want to see which one is better, good luck. Talk to someone in our servers, maybe. That's the best chance you have, because nobody cares. That's all the history this these patches have online.
Yeah, but yeah, there was a few things. I think both teams did a fine job bringing Air to English, but if you want to just have an easy experience, Steam. No, there's no easier way.
It was such a dilemma trying to figure out which one to try, because I just didn't know. I couldn't find any opinions. I was kind of petrified, and like having that kind of choice and not knowing which one to take is like that alone can drive someone off. Straight up.
Lucy mentions one translation was created from a mishmash of unfinished patches, and another was made from scratch but took more liberties. So fun times.
Yeah. The Air is like a graveyard of like murdered fan translations. This took 14 years for even one of them to come out.
Yeah. I mean, we got them now, and now we won't have to worry about any of that because officially we're getting it translated. And Air is a visual novel that, if we haven't made it obvious, we both believe you should read. Like, not watch, read this one. Because there's too much that you miss out on in the anime, and this visual novel, while it's not perfect, there have been a few critics of this visual novel, which I think is fair. It's still really important to give a try. Like, this is Jun Maeda's first true major contribution to Key. We cannot understate this.
I would argue this is where the Maeda we all know and love, like, first emerged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was a Maeda who had finally gotten experience from One and Canon and started putting together his own style that wasn't as off-putting as it could be in those works, and delivered a very, very effective story in the end.
Yes. So, for those who don't know their Key writers and stuff, originally back in the day for pre-Key and the first Key work, there were actually two big writers for Key. There was Jun Maeda, who we all know, and there was also Naoki Hisaya, who is the mastermind behind Canon, and also half of the writer with One. Like, Maeda and Hisaya, they both shared Moon and One together. Regarding that, Hisaya was the spearhead of Canon, and you can thank Hisaya for making Canon the story that it is. Like, it is very much a Hisaya story through and through. A lot of the themes and a lot of the scenes are very much quirks for his storytelling style. And Maeda has almost always expressed this in interviews. Like, he has said so many times that when it comes to making Nakige, when it comes to making Key visual novels, he always felt like he was trying to live up to the image and style that Hisaya Naoki imparted to him. Because after Canon, Hisaya stopped working for Key. He left the company.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
and we still miss him to this day, but that's beside the point.
We do. We really do. However, that is not to discredit Jun Maeda at all. Like, Jun Maeda, I'm pretty sure we all know at this point, is one of the most important, if not the most important, Key visual novel writer, because after Hisaya left, Maeda took that as a mission. He knew he had to live up to the style that Hisaya created, and Air is the very first example of this. This is a Maeda that doesn't have to work with other people for like full story. This is a story where he himself is making the whole image from beginning to end. He did collaborate with other writers for the side heroine routes, I'm pretty sure, but the main heroine's route and the true heroine route, both Maeda. So this is his first time as the main project head. This is his story. Compared to Hisaya making Canon, this is a very much a Maeda story. And let me just say, he started with a bang. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Absolute. Like, ironically, this was the story that had more than 2 writers, like, for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It had the debut for a lot of big writers for Key. It was the first time Tai had wrote for Key, and it was the first time Yuichi Suzumoto had as well.
Yes, my also another favorite of mine, Suzumoto Yuichi, who wrote the Summer Route. This was a very big visual novel that had a lot of writers, and you can tell that with the contributions. It also has some unique writers. I'm pretty sure Kano's writer literally only wrote this route as their one contribution to the entire
Yes.
visual novel industry. It's really funny. They came to visual arts specifically, wrote this one route, and then disappeared into the nethers. We never heard from them again.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, he could be under another alias. We do not know, but yeah, if you go on to the Airbnb, you'll notice there's a lot of other writers. There's Okano Toya, who is, as we all know, at this point, I'm pretty sure they are the CEO of Key, Tenkumo Genki at this point. We've got Kai, we've got Tsuzumoto Yuichi, and we basically just have a lot of people working on this game. So
it was a very ambitious project.
Very ambitious and very, very pretty for its time. Like, I'm pretty sure this was like one of the first visual novels where we got like a lot of moving. Like, there's something in this visual novel. I'm pretty sure that was like the first of its kind, whether it be moving graphics or something. But it was massive during its era. I can definitely say, at least subjectively, it was very, very atmospheric. There is no visual novel that quite captures the summer atmosphere like Air, and I'm saying that as a big statement because ever since Air, there have been a lot of summer visual novels. Like, this was the start of a new storm.
Like this. Again, if canon was big, Air was huge.
Yeah. Like, this is such an important visual novel for Key's history, and it's really a lot of justice. Like, this is a visual novel that we don't see much talked about nowadays in the Western community, and it has gotten a fair bit of controversy because of certain aspects that we'll probably discuss at a later date. But this was a big visual novel, and I would dare say that a lot of fans have like held up to it even to this time. You'll never find like a lot of dedicated like diehard fans in Key as the Air fans, because like they're far and few between, but we have a lot of people who dearly, dearly love this story. In like, even in this server, we have one of our key keepers, Yukito, we have Spiral, we have Phantom, we have Ugu. A lot of these people really like Air. Ryan too. Ryan really loves Air. Like, a lot of people in the community. And yeah, I was getting to it. I was getting to that. So, and that includes one of our biggest members of the entire Key community, our Giga-chan himself, who has not just contributed to the community regarding discussion and other things, he also like spearheaded a lot of the patches. Our beloved Sep7 is a massive Air fan. Like, they have been repping Misuzu for basically like decades.
Yeah,
so
he is Misuzu iconic.
Yeah, he has very much been the Misuzu icon for years on end. Iron just corrected me. Ugu has only read Air for the first time. I was thinking of Ryan. It was my bad. I had a lapse in judgment. But yeah.
That kind of goes to show, like, there are definitely big fans of it, but they're much harder to find than with Canon or Planet or Little Busters. It's just in the most awkward spot between being the second, like, big Key work and not having a great anime, because Canon has a lot of people who love it because it was their first exposure to Key, or at least one of their first few.
Was for me. And Air is very much in the same vein, but like we said, because of the anime adaptation, there has been a more mixed reception for it. The anime doesn't really do it justice, and visually it's an absolutely one masterclass treat. I'd say visually the anime still holds up to this day. It is just extremely rushed and cuts out a lot of content that really contextualizes a lot of the smaller details, and Yukito's character definitely did not survive the anime adaptation.
I can imagine.
Like, Oh my god, like half of Yukito's personality, which is literally his best aspect, is just gone. He's he is not the same character, and I don't mean that in a good way. Like Yukito, I wouldn't say is butchered, but he has lost so much of his sauce in the anime adaptations, man.
I would say in general, Air is just a story that can't fully be done justice within a linear format because that's not how it was ever written with in mind. Like
No. Yeah.
its structure is very fascinating. Like having that choice to not go down these so-called true routes is pretty significant in its own right.
I'm such a dum-dum. Yeah, that's another big thing that Air contributed. So the thing I was forgetting, Air brought true routes to Key. I
Yes,
think that's
yeah,
an important thing we gotta mention. Air brought
Almost
true routes to Key.
Yeah, we take it for granted, honestly, but this was the first time we got that big, like, traditional Key heavy hitter true route.
Yeah, like with the previous Key visual novels, there are mainly three. Moon is a linear story. That one doesn't have a true route per se, it just has multiple endings and a true ending. That's like the best one. Canon and 1, both of them don't have true routes. Canon has the IU route, which is definitely designed to be the final route, but it's not a true route. You're not forced to read it last, nor are you even, like, it's not like completely something that carries over everything in the rest of the stories. It answers a lot of questions, and it's a perfect final note, but IU route isn't like intended to only be your be-all end-all for the story. But Air is specifically designed to have 3 character routes, which are known as the dream routes. And only after finishing those routes, you get a new route called Summer. This is something that is completely unique to Air of its time, and it has the final true route, which is called the Air route. This was unheard of from Key at the time. I'm pretty sure there have been other visual novels that have had true routes. I'm not sure if Snow came before or after. I'm pretty sure Snow also had a true route, but it was a bit
definitely
different.
after.
Snow was later, okay. Then Air might be one of the first, if not the first, visual novel to include true routes. But Air brought Summer and Air route, which is, if you talk to a lot of Air fans, a lot of people credit these 2 routes as the routes that make Air, like, as powerful as it is. Like, the dream routes are good. They are enjoyable routes. They are fun visual novel experiences. But the Summer and Air routes were incredible. They were, like, game-changing for Key. Like, there is a reason the true route formula has basically stuck ever since Air. We have Planet After Story. We have Little Buster's Refrain. We have Rewrite Moon and Terra. We have Summer Pocket's Alcon Pocket, etc., etc. This is the staple, and it all came from Air, and it only stuck because Air nailed it. It is essential to this story. You do not have Air without its true routes.
Like this, as much as canon, Air just laid the foundation for so much of what Key would become. We can't understate its importance, and yeah, again, those true routes are what make it such a memorable and fascinating experience. They take you so far away from, I'd say, the comfort zone of what Key stories usually feel like.
Yeah, they are one of a kind. Like the thing about Air is that for its time, this was like kind of like the experimental era of Air. I would say, or for Key rather, I would say we all know Key as it's now. We know the formula. We know all of its expectations. A lot of fans tribute Key finding their bearings at give or like, let's say, Clannad or Little Busters. That, like, obviously that's like debatable on which one, whether or not that they have truly gone to there, which one is the most important. I would argue both are like relatively very solid put together visual novels, but Air is very important for Ki and Jun Maeda because this story is told in a way that is like very raw Jun Maeda. Like this is Maeda going ahead with his vision, but not fully adapting to what we all now expect. So Maeda had to learn a lot. And while I do think that Air has started off with a bang, like I said, I think Air is fantastic, holds up today. But regarding this, he took a lot of what criticism and statements regarding Air, and he used it to write Clannad, and then he wrote Little Busters. Those I would say are more universally loved visual novels, but that also means Air is kind of a standout in comparison, because Air is a very unique story now that you just don't see much in Ki anymore. Like even today, where we've moved on to other writers like Kai, to Suzumoto Yuichi, and yet even them, with their contributions and the other writers, they still follow that Ki formula. Airs was made during that experimental era where Maeda was just doing his own thing and trying to find a new angle for canon. Rather than striking a balance, he was doing his own story from beginning to end and telling something that I believe is pretty unique in all of Ki.
Definitely. And I would say in general, that's just one of the things you need to keep in mind with Air. There is nothing else like it within Ki.
Absolutely not. Like, that's partially why Air is something that's like, you don't see as much love for it from everyone because, like I said, Clannad and Little Busters are undeniably more beloved because they are stories that appeal to a wider audience. That's gonna happen. Air might not appeal to everyone. It is definitely a story that has certain storytelling aspects that are very unique to it, which may not work for everyone. However, the people who do like it really, really love it, and you're just not gonna get anything like it. So, if nothing else, I think it's really important to give Air a try and see if it works for you as well, because Air is definitely worth experiencing. You're just never gonna find a visual novel like it. Even if you don't end up loving it as much as other people, you can at least talk about it now, because Air is so important to understanding like the path and the journey of this company and Jun Maeda himself. You just don't get Jun Maeda in his current state without Air. And for me at least, I believe it really holds up. Like, there are some people who think it's got a bit dated in its production, and there are some people who aren't huge fans of its story, but I just fully believe Air holds up. Like, this is a story that I've managed to enjoy as recent as my last read in 2001.
Was that
2021? My brain is melting.
That would only be like a year after it came out.
I was born in 2001. I'm like,
wow.
I'm nearly
from
Air's
birth.
age.
From birth you were a Ki fan. You were destined for this.
I mean, yeah, I definitely feel that way. I love all of Ki, and Air is an important story. Like, we've established that the anime has not done it justice. Can we talk about the side heroines? Because, like, the side heroines of Air are probably some of the most, like, literally discussed side heroines of all time to this day.
Yeah, like, I'll say in general, we've been discussing this from the, trying to talk to people who haven't experienced Air at all, but if you've only watched the anime, or even if you've only read it once, like, absolutely feel free to take part in this book club. This is a whole new version. It's gonna be just a whole new experience for all of us in some way or another.
Yeah, so that's the big announcement. After Angel Beats Book Club, naturally it was very fitting. The next book club afterwards will be the Air Book Club, so we will be planning it soon. So in case you've been wanting to reread it, but you probably didn't have any particular reason or opportunity to, now we're gonna be hosting a book club just like we did with Canon. So if you want to read book club, the book club with Air, maybe save it because we will be hosting it around summertime when it actually fits. Instead
Yeah,
of
like
spring.
it'll be a few months wait, but if you can, I would definitely request everyone please wait for the book club because I think being able to share that in just that atmosphere would make the discussion much richer for everyone.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we're starting to
And
plan this like as we speak, like the moment it released, me and Scout have already agreed the next one will be Air after Ham's book club. As for details, we'll get to that on a later date. We'll discuss it later.
but we'll say probably expect it to be a bit of a slower book club, a slower paced one. We're not going to
Yeah.
rush through it in like 5 episodes. We're going to let it just sink in for a while because the entirety of Air is important.
Yeah.
Even the comment route. This is one that you just need to look at as a whole.
Yes. This is a visual novel that we are not gonna repeat the mistakes of the anime. The anime decides to shotgun it. We're gonna go through Air one at a time, and we're gonna focus on everything. The common route, incredibly important. It's not my favorite common route. A lot of people have issues with it, and I do think it's valid. We'll talk about that, because even if you have issues with it, which a lot of people do, Air's common route is very much worth discussion, and the same can be said for the side heroine routes. Kano's route is very controversial, but I think it has a lot of merit and a lot of things worth talking about, and I'm gonna say it right now. I'm not a huge Kano route fan. I wasn't sold on it as much as some others, but I love talking about it. Like, people have a lot of things to discuss when it comes to Air, and as I'm sure both me and Scout already know, we love Minagi. Minagi is another case where not a lot of people talk about her because, like we said, the anime doesn't really do a great job selling it, and a lot of the non-main heroine routes of Air have critiques. They have their criticisms, and I think they're valid, but still, they're worth discussing. Minagi is another great example of that. Her route it's a meaty one.
I literally talked a few months ago about how I think she's one of the most underappreciated heroines in all of Key.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say she's not popular within Air's like own fan base. Like there's definitely plenty of people who love her. Compared to Kano, who is unfortunately the underdog heroine of all of Key.
Pain.
But just in general, people do not pay attention to either of them enough, and I think that is a real shame.
Yeah, I agree. We've now begun getting some hot takes in the podcast text, including Kano route better than Minagi route, and I like Minagi more than Misusu.
I agree, honestly, with that second one.
Yeah,
I adore Minagi.
Now, I'm not gonna judge anyone. Empy said casually he lied as easily as he breathed, but I will say, like I wanted to say from the beginning, Air is very meaty. There's a lot to discuss, and unlike the anime, we're not gonna rush through it. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna talk about every single one of these heroines, because even if you watch the anime, you don't know these characters. We'll tell you why, and you will understand why once you give the visual novel a read. I really can't emphasize enough how important it is to give this visual novel a read.
They're there for a reason.
They're there for a reason, and Air's you gotta give it that read because god dang, this visual novel is so important for its era, and it just feels unique. It's one of a kind. It holds up, and that summer atmosphere. There's nothing like summer atmosphere in Air.
This is going to be big. Let's just say that this is going to be a big event for all of us.
Absolutely. So, regardless of whether or not you decide to read this book club, whether or not you want to buy Air and read it immediately or wait a few months for the Air book club, read Air. that's the main thing. Now that it's on Steam, this is a great opportunity, and more importantly, it's the definitive version. We're getting a version that has all of the content. They're in their best resolution. We're getting new CGs. Everything is brand spanking new, and this is the best time to get into Air. There's no excuse anymore. I'm holding a gun to your head. Buy this visual novel.
There's something new for everyone in this release.
Heck yeah, man.
You can always find a reason.
But yeah, that's it for this episode of Key Radio News. There's been a lot of announcements, but the big one we really want to emphasize is log into your HBR accounts, get those free rewards. Always important to get some free stuff. Don't spoil yourself on the event. But more importantly, buy Air. When it comes out in 2 weeks, buy it, because it's worth your money, it's worth your time. Even if you've watched the anime and you weren't a huge fan of it, trust me, this visual novel's worth it. And especially if you haven't read the visual novel, you gotta read it. Like, this is so worth it. But yeah, that's it for tonight. So thank you so much to everyone for joining in this episode, and I hope we have a exciting summer, or spring if you want to read it right away, coming up this season.
We hope to see you all there, and remember to fear Potato.
Yes. Potato is God. Anyways.
As so many people are going to be exposed to Potato again. Have mercy on our souls.
I'm all for it, man. I'm so ready. But yeah, thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a good night.
See you all next time.